Thank you very much. We'll start the first part of the next session, that is about nutrition, wellness, and human evolution. Okay, it's a great issue. That's why it is divided in two sessions. And I will start the first session with my speech, since Professor Proestos is still on his way to the office, but he will soon be with us. That
I
is
have
about.
arrived, George.
Okay, thank you, Babis. Okay, but I will start my presentation now. So you have some time to prepare yourself. Let me share the screen. Is my screen visible? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, transformation of food systems in Greece. Our food systems are complex systems with lots of variables and drivers and factors. Some of the 7 main drivers for a food system is the environment, the geopolitics, the demographics, the policy regulations, the social, cultural, economic drivers, the science and technology drivers, and the infrastructure of institutions. Now, all these drivers lead to 4 basic outcomes. The environmental outcomes, like resources efficiency, conservation, and sustainable biodiversity, ecosystem services, climate change mitigation, food security and nutrition, availability, accessibility, utilization, stability, sustainability, minimizing food loss and waste, better health concerning human capital, employment and productivity, and social, cultural, economic outcomes like poverty alleviation, livelihoods, living wages, social justice, equity, resilience, advocacy, and trust. In this presentation, we'll use the nested perspective of food systems from one side the other. And let's start from the Paleolithic period. Over 100,000 years before Christ, the things were simple. The humans were the actual food scavengers living in caves and forests, and we had the first food miles, just a few food miles. Here is a picture of some cavemen at the cave of Petralon in Chalkidiki, of about 250,000 before Christ. During their eating, there is a fire here. They're eating bones. I don't know what happened, and they were petrified while eating, maybe in a sudden volcano explosion. We move to the Neolithic period, about more than 3,000 years before Christ. The humans are still food scavengers. The food miles increased a little bit, more than 10 miles. We have the domestic cultivation, some domestic animals, and we have the first food nomads. It is still simple. Here is a Neolithic habitat, a recreation of a Neolithic habitat at the Lake of Kastoria. This recreates the way of living of about 5,000 to 6,000 BC. We move to the prehistory, the Bronze and Iron Age, that is dated of 500,000 BC and further. We have the primitive agriculture, the first agriculture. The food miles increase to 100 and more. We have the first civilizations in Greece, like the Cycladic, the Minoan, the Aegean, and the Mycenaean. We have sea transports, we have granary facilities, and food storage facilities. These are some stone houses at the Avi Island, dated about 500 BC. The locals call them the Dracospita, the drunken houses, nothing to do with dragons, of course. This is a Knossos Palace of the Minoan civilization. This is a picture of fishermen carrying fresh fish from the island of Santorini, and a cup, a kylix or a silix, Actually, it's better to call it Kylix, a Kylikas. It's a drinking cup dated about 540 to 530 before Christ, showing the Dionysus with some grapes and some fish. And we move to the Archaic period, about 800 to 400 BC. We have the organized city-states, and at that moment, the most important city-states was Athens, Sparta, and Thebes. The Greek colonies on East Mediterranean Sea or South Italy, the so-called Magna Graecia, the land and sea transport, the foot mile is increased significantly, more than 500, but we also have wars with Persians and the Peloponnesian Wars between city-states. At the Hellenistic period, 400 to 100 BC, it was Alexander the Great, but also the Macedonian kings and the Macedonian kingdoms after the Alexander the Great that were very important. We have a domination of the Hellenistic kingdom, of the Macedonian kingdoms, because there were about 4 or 5, from the Adriatic Sea to the Indian Ocean, from the Nile Valley to the Danube Valley, and to the heart of the Central Asia. We have the globalization, the first food globalization, land and sea transport all around the known world, and the food miles now increase more than 1,000. Here is a map of the Macedonian kingdoms. As you can see here, they are involved about 5-6 oceans, the Adriatic Sea, the Mediterranean Sea, the Black Sea, the Caspian Sea, the Red Sea, the Persian Gulf, even the Indian Ocean. We have the kingdoms of Antigonides in central Greece, Pyros in western Greece, Antiochos in the area that now is called Turkey, Ptolemus in northern Africa, and the biggest kingdom was the kingdom of Seleucides, of Seleucus, that included Mesopotamia up to the heart of the East. So there was exchange of products, there was trade between all this area of the Macedonian kingdoms, and this is what I call the first food globalization. At the Roman period, the borders of the known world are expanded to the west. There is the first massive food processing. The salami and sausages are invented in mass production, are invented by the Romans. The first restaurants, the so-called thermopolia, there is food globalization from land and sea transport all around the known world, and the food miles increased to more than 2,000. At the Byzantine period, 300 Anno Domini to 1400 Anno Domini, the Byzantine Empire closes borders to the west, but expands the borders to the east. Christian religion introduces fasting periods. Feudalism creates castes of master and servants. Epidemics, crops devastations, and several wars determine the food supply. The food miles are quite a lot. The cooking and eating utensils take the form that they have till now. That is very important. Constantinople and Thessaloniki become the major cities. Rhodos, Crete, and Cyprus become commercial centers and transit stations for the Crusaders. We have the first food artisans and the first food manufacturing. And as well, we have the first scholar institutes that appear. During the Ottoman occupation in Greece, 1400 Anno Domini to 1800 Anno Domini, more or less, Turks are the masters and Greeks are the servants. The Ottoman cuisine dominates the culinary preparation, and it's still as such. Greeks are deprived of access to education, that is very important. All agricultural production is exported by the Turkish pashas. However, there is no indication that there was scarce of food products. The commerce of wine, cereals, and olive oil in this period is expanded all over the Ottoman Empire. Food miles more than 2,000. Islands like Lesbos and Chios become important commercial centers. However, in the Aegean Sea, there is piracy. All over the Mediterranean Sea, there is piracy. And on the mountains, we have the armed thefts, the called kleftes, that later become guerrillas for the war of independence. And we reach modern Greece after 1800 Anno Domini. At the end of 19th century, Greece has developed railway and commercial fleet. That is very important for the trade of the food. Potatoes and tomatoes, or potatoes and tomatoes, came in Greece in the 19th century, but they are fully integrated with our modern culinary tradition. During the Balkan Wars and the two great world wars, there were periods of famine, great famine sometimes. Immigration and ethnic exchanges from Balkans and Turkey developed new demands for food supply. Food industries developed from the beginning of the 20th century. Supermarket chains and modern logistics are developed in the 80s and 90s. The Mediterranean diet is recognized by the scientists as an important nutrition model, but it's recognized when it is already abandoned. This is very important. In the beginning of the 20th century, there was more rural population than urban. But in the beginning of the 21st century, there is more urban population than rural. So the food system here is described like this, okay? The farmer, the agriculture, the food logistics, and the transport ordering, including e-shops, e-commerce. Maybe we should turn it inside out and have this model that better describes our life now. In the heart of the food system is the urban population living in tall buildings, shopping from supermarkets or shopping from e-shops, e-commerce. Then it's the food logistics. Then all the means of transportation, the international transportation, and on the borderline is the agriculture. The food value chains in Greece are traditional or modern. Traditional traders and manufacturers buy the local products and sell them in the local market. The modern food chains, big manufacturers and traders buy from big commercial farms and they sell through big supermarket outlets. But there is also the traditional to modern supermarket and food manufacturers source food from smallholder farmers and traders, and the modern to traditional big manufacturers and traders sell through the network of traditional traders and retailers. In example, the traditional Bakaliko, the small food outlet that you can find it in rural areas. There is no way that in a traditional Bakaliko you will find local products, but you will find also international products like Coca-Cola or Lacta or whatsoever. The food systems in Greece are the traditional in rural areas from a local supply chain or a short supply chain, local taverns, traditional diets shifting to modern due to media and internet. Okay? I'm watching several cooking TV shows, and some show traditional recipes that took from the rural areas, but they were adapted to the urban population. The urban population is watching TV of the recipes that are adapted to the urban population. Okay, this causes an adulteration to the tradition. There are mixed food systems of urban and semi-urban areas, small and big food outlets, taverns and fast food outlets, traditional shifting to modern. There are modern food systems in urban and metropolitan areas, big outlets, delicatessen outlets, fast food restaurants, model taverns, gourmet restaurants, e-food services, and the quest for the traditional. And the future food systems in urban and metropolitan areas concern e-food services, smart food outlets, smart restaurants, and the quest for sustainability. That includes also traditional. This is a very nice pyramid. From the front side of the pyramid, you can see the Mediterranean diet model concerning the foods that involve the Mediterranean diet, also some activities that are involved in Mediterranean diet. We should not forget the activities like conviviality, eating together. And on the other side are the sources of foods, where the foods come from. Okay, this is a very educative model of the Mediterranean pyramid. It's quite new, of 2020. But we're going full speed ahead. Okay, the free trade and globalization machine sucks all the natural resources and all the human resources as well to produce pollution, to produce environmental destruction, to produce consumer junk. We have to do something about it. So, the factors that shape food security and nutrition are the climate variability and extremes, the climate shocks, the environmental degradation, the prolonged climate extremes. Sometimes temperatures stay high for a long time. The climate-related disasters, and we have seen quite a lot of examples lately, and the extreme climate events. According to WHO, the health consequences of extreme climate, like increased rains, storms, cyclones, drought, or wildfires, there are several divided to food insecurity, decreased water quality, lack of water supply, air pollution, pollution displacement, damaged infrastructure, contaminated water, increased rodent and animal hosts, increased vectors. There are some misunderstandings, some unstated assumptions. Okay? We believe that human happiness and well-being increases with higher income and more consumption. We believe that the scarcity of resources can be relieved by enhancing the factor productivity or factor substitution, do something else. And we also believe sometimes that there is no ecological, geopolitical limit to the growth and to the development. This would be true if the world is infinite. Is the world infinite? If there was geopolitical stability is not assured. And if there is no serious downside to inter-regional dependence. So, do we need a future sustainable food system? Okay, this is a very utopic or dystopic picture, quite futuristic. So, what is a sustainable food system? Here I have three different definitions from FAO, from American Public Health Association, the Science Advice for Policy by European academies. I will not read them, but I have underlined some words that are very common in every definition. Food security, nutrition, economic, social, environmental, food needs, healthy food, ecosystem, environment again, nutritious, safe, healthy, low environmental impact, natural environment, ecosystem, economically dynamic, just, fair, socially acceptable. So these are some keywords that define sustainable food systems. Actually, there are three pillars for positive food systems. To protect the natural systems and protected areas from new conversions for food production and save and set aside some land and water back to nature. To sustainably manage existing food production systems and to restore and rehabilitate degraded systems for sustainable food production and ecosystem services. This is the famous Barilla double pyramid. Here is the food consumption pyramid, as it should be. The basis is fruits and vegetables, then is cereals, and on the top some sweets and meat. And this is the reversed pyramid, environmental pyramid, showing the highest impact that some products have on the environment. Food security and sustainable development goals. Food security starts from the availability to the accessibility and utilization. Availability is at national level, accessibility is at household level, utilization it is in individual level. So food security and sustainability is related with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sustainable development goals of WHO. There are about 17 sustainable development goals. In this graph, you can see the improved systems for better diets and nutrition. The food supply chain fits the food environment fits the consumer behavior. There is a cycle economy here, and the consumer behavior through this mechanism can lead to improved nutrition health outcomes, but also better social and economic status. Also, another illustration that I will not explain further, just to show that the food systems, the sustainable food system, diet and nutrition are involved with lots of the sustainable development goals, and basically with the availability, accessibility, and utilization. Now, these are the 13 steps for sustainable healthy diets according to the FAO. Well, it looks like a board game, but to throw dices. But you cannot throw dices. You have to follow all the 13 steps one by one. The first steps regard the health aspects. Then the next steps regard the environmental impact. And the last steps, the social cultural aspects. And in Europe, there is a farm to fork policy that is part of the European Green Deal that has 4 priorities: sustainable food production, agricultural production, sustainable food processing and distribution, sustainable food consumption, and food loss and waste prevention. And all these can be achieved through resilience, chances for new opportunities, global transition, and measuring climate footprint. There is the multidisciplinary EU approach that includes global food, regional food, partnership food, and of course, pharma food. The top 5 food trends in 2024, according to Aid Food, is food security solutions, the relationship, the link between nature, indigenous people, and food systems, very important, the regenerative agriculture, change crops, stop crops, move to other crops, more need for data about consumer behavior, and of course, AI technology will influence the next era of food system action. This is a EU dream for sustainability. I don't know if this picture is utopic or dystopic. Certainly it's chronotopic, it's quite new. There is circular economy, transport, regional transport of food and waste, urban farming, and I was last June in New Jersey, US, and I have seen quite a lot of examples of urban farming, and also small domestic farms growing our food at home. This is a farm for mushrooms that you can have at home, or you can have an aquarium that together fertilizes some plants. It's very utopic. To finish this presentation, for the bottom line, I would say we cannot pick our food from the fields anymore as it was in the first food systems of the Paleolithic and Neolithic area. We pick it from the retail market and the restaurant. Do we actually choose foods, or foods can choose consumers? I think sometimes that foods choose me. Transformation of food systems must give the liberty to choose foods for better nutrition, better environment, and better society. And only then the food systems can become sustainable. Thank you for the attention. Are there any questions from the audience? I will stop sharing.
We said that we can have Q&A at the end.
Okay, we'll have some questions at the end. So we can move to the next presentation by Professor Charalambos Proestos. He is a professor of food chemistry in the Department of Chemistry of the National Kapodistrian University. And last Saturday, he received an award from the Committee of the Food Experts Awards 24. I was there at the ceremony. He was not there. His wife came to pick up the prize. So congratulations, Professor Koproestos.
Thank you, Professor Bosco.
You have 15 minutes for your presentation.
Maybe next time we can say.
George, can you upload my presentation? Or I will.
Okay.
Professor Proestos, your sound is not very good.
Not very good.
Maybe, yes, that's a good choice. Deactivate the camera. Better have to save
Is
internet
it better
resources.
now? Is it better now?
Yes.
Somehow better, yeah.
Okay. George, can you upload my presentation? Is it possible?
Christos. Fortunately, the sound problems were only at the last side, but there was quite explicit information on the slide. So we can move to the next presentation by Dr. Sotiropoulou Evangelia. Dr. Sotiropoulou Evangelia is an enologist, and she did her PhD in industrial chemistry. I had the pleasure, also Professor Kalokerinos, to be part of her evaluation jury. But she's also a young businesswoman, a young entrepreneur. She found the company Inosporos with beauty products, cosmetic products, based on the oil of the seeds of the grapes. Okay, so Dr. Sotiropoulou, you have 15 minutes for your presentation.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for the invitation today. I would like to thank the organizing committee and, of course, Professor Kalokerinos and Professor Boscu for your kind words too. Let me have some minutes to share my screen, please. Okay. Is it visible? Is it okay?
Now it is, okay?
Great, great.
Okay.
Thank you. So,
can you switch to presentation view? If you
yes,
go down to the right.
I did it. Oh.
Ah.
Is it visible now or not?
No,
Not.
we are.
Just a minute. Okay.
If you go down right, yes, you see a small screen. Can you press this button? There, this one.
It's
That's
not.
not
In my
okay.
screen, it seems like it's full screen, but I don't know the reason why. It doesn't
try to move one slide ahead. There's no response.
Okay.
Okay. We can do it from here.
Yes,
from
thank
the
you.
hub. Okay.
Okay.
And
Yes.
Evangelia, you can
Yes.
tell us when to go to the next slide.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sotiropoulou. Thank you for your nice presentation. Now we can move to the next speaker, that is Professor Maglogiannis Ilias. Professor Maglogiannis Ilias is a professor in the Department of Digital Systems in the University of Piraeus, and he's also the Dean of the School of Information and Communication Technologies and Director of Computation and Biomedicine Lab. Professor Maglogiannis, you have 15 minutes for your presentation.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and I also wish to thank the organizing committee for inviting me again this year to this prestigious conference. So my talk is a little bit different than the previous ones, which are in the area of food and nutrition, but it is in the area of health, so it's somehow linked. And also, I must say that we are doing also research in this area. One of my PhD candidates is dealing with computer vision techniques and machine learning for plant diseases recognition. But this talk is mainly focused on the area of digital health. So we are living now within digital area in health. The difference between now and the past is that in the previous years, we used computer systems for mostly managing and storing health data. In the area that we are living, we are expanding this application to the areas of diagnosis and prediction and prevention. This means that we are using a more holistic approach to gather data not only in a controlled environment of a hospital or a healthcare center, but also we measure data related to the lifestyle, with the activities, with the quality of the sleep, of the habits of each person, and also we're entering in the game the data related to the nutrition and to the genomics and the molecular profile of each individual. So it's a combination of the digital revolution and the genomic revolution that we are living in the digital health now. Following this approach, and this is what happens also in general in IT systems. While in the past we were focusing on the organization, I mean how we can computerize the procedures of a hospital, of a bank, or organization. Now the trend is toward the user. So this is a more human-centered approach. And for this reason, we are following the principles of pervasive and ubiquitous computing. That means the applications are decentralized, are oriented toward the user. We design the systems how the user will interact with them. We use a lot of data from various sources, so we need some intelligence to filter the necessary data. An important aspect of e-health systems is that the system should know the situation they are engaged. I mean, this is called context awareness. And for instance, if there is an emergency, the system should know about this and should react differently than in another situation. So perhaps a faster network or removing some overhead from encryption of data. So it's important for the system to understand what are the data that are used in a specific situation. And of course, the state-of-the-art technologies like the one that our previous speaker mentioned, Internet of Things, advanced sensors, and the idea of bringing the devices to patients and not the patients to the devices. So 4 pillars are identified as the major basis for digital health, the smart care, which is, of course, the inclusion of smart applications for analyzing data and make predictions. the care anywhere aspect. That means that we don't support patients and users not only in hospitals and in controlled environments, but also in their everyday life. The empowered care, that means we want to put the patients in the ecosystem and engage them in the management of their own health. And of course, the transformation of the health enterprises to a more intelligent format with the digitalization of their procedures. A few recent years ago, there was a conference in Greece, the eHealth Forum, where the Nelly Cruz, which was the former European Commissioner for the Digital Agenda, in their keynote speech mentioned the idea of the personal health navigator. What is the personal health navigator? It's a user-friendly tool that helps people find and interact with their nearest doctor, a tool to give them accessible and trustworthy health information where they are, quick and secure access to personal data, detect and support the treatment of the disease, but also encourage healthy habits and prevent conditions before they occur. So this was the notion of the personal health navigator was emblematic scope of the European Union, and also what drove the calls for European projects in the next years. And this is how also we tried as a lab and with collaborators around Europe to address in various research projects that we participate. So the idea is to use also the Internet of Things and mobile health, the sensors that have become recently much better in terms of accuracy, connectivity, portability, and the cost also is also affordable now. And the idea is that we should develop a platform and application that can accommodate different sensor types, different vendors, and focus on usability, performance, and security. A main issue with the existing vendors and devices, medical devices that produce data is that vendors would like to lock in the data and to create islands of data. I mean, if you buy a blood pressure monitor and it's of a specific vendor, and then you change to another vendor, it's different to move the data from the one cloud platform to the other. So we paid a lot of attention and effort on developing an application, a platform that can integrate all major device manufacturers and wearables and medical devices. And we delivered this platform as telemonitoring platform that utilize mobile and cloud technologies, and is provided as web and mobile app. And we consider this as a one-stop shop platform for delivering various medical services in collaboration with medical organizations for patient monitoring, for data collection, connection with medical sensors and wearables and medical devices, and data analytics, I mean, the analyzation of data. This platform is used in several projects. I have some examples for you in the various formats that this platform undergone, because this is something we are doing for 10 years now, and we have created several versions of the platform. So one of the first application was in collaboration with University Hospital of Larissa, where we monitor people with pulmonary fibrosis. So the idea there that each person was provided with a tablet and a pulse oximeter and blood pressure monitor and a spirometer. And there was a measurement schedule that was provided by the doctor, by the physicians, and also some video conference with them. and they also completed some questionnaires. I will not go or delve in many technical details. Some results, initial results. It's quite impressive how the patients complied to the medication and to the measurement schedule. It was very impressive, and even the doctors didn't believe that the patient can be so obedient in the schedules that they have given. Actually, this project also received some prizes from corresponding conference from the pulmonary community. And the main idea that was during the evaluation of the project is that the people that participated, the patients, felt an increased feeling of safety and security, knowing that there is a doctor that is seeing the data, and they can get some personalized advices toward their health and the management of the disease. Another application is with collaboration of Evangelismos Hospital during the iCovid project. This is the case of monitoring patients with mild COVID symptoms remotely. So they have used this platform, and after collecting the data, we had some additional tasks like predicting the Medical Research Council dyspnea scale for the next days, and also find what are the important features for this prediction. These are reported in a recent publication. So you can see in this slide that we have listed all the features that we measured during the measurements, and which are the factors that affect mostly the progress and the evolution of the disease. So you can see here some of the elements that we monitor through the platform and how this change over the days. So using this data and our platform, we can produce visual analytics. This is the case where we gather data for each day of a week for a specific user, a specific patient, and using some clustering techniques, we can analyze which data are good or medium or bad, which measurements are bad, and see what happened every day for each person. So if he has a habit that leads to some bad measurements in a specific day of the week, perhaps he can change his program and receive some recommendations and see how this will affect his measurements. We also do risk analysis using the data in the analytics part. This is a collaboration again with the University Hospital of Larissa, where we monitor people that they have suffered of a stroke. This is a major adverse cardiac event. So during this study, we measure data from the lifestyle and everyday living, and in collaboration with the data that were collected in the hospital, we calculated the risk of these people to have a stroke again during a period of 10 years. So changing their everyday life can help them to reduce this risk, and this is reflected to the scores that are produced through the data analytics platform. We have also implemented some chatbots for better communication with the patient. This is some symptom checkup that exists in our website for assessing some diseases. And in the context of this aspect of holistic analysis, we're doing also affective computing, analyzing the emotion of the people during their video conference with the doctors. So using computer vision, we can train some systems to understand some emotional categories. According to Ekman, which is the father of affective computing, there are 7 basic emotional categories. So these are 2 of my students doing some tests. So you see how the expression and the emotion changes. There is a vector that is calculated, and this is also stored and can be assessed in terms of evaluating the emotional condition and the depression and other stuff like this. These were used in another project that we had to monitor patients with psychotic disorders. This was a collaboration with EPIPSI, the Institution for Mental Disorders, and the project is called e-prevention. So what we did there, we gave to people with schizophrenia a smartwatch, and we were able to monitor in continuous mode 24/7 some data received by the watch, such as the accelerometer, the gyroscope. I mean, there's some motion data, the heart rate, and the sleep and the steps. So we produce some nice visualization of for each patient, and the doctors were able to see if a person was, let's say, overstimulated. So in this case, he might want to increase his medication, or if a patient was catatonic. I mean, the motion data are very limited. So in this case, he should reduce the medication. But the main contribution of this project is that we managed to create a composite index, a composite biomarker detecting an anomaly in his behavior. And this anomaly score can be used for predicting relapses and crisis in their situation. So we were able, with a very satisfactory access accuracy rate, to predict these relapses and help the doctors, the physicians, to handle with them before they occur. So this is a very important contribution in the area of prevention. Other works deal with the area of recommender systems, how we can have some virtual coaches to motivate users for healthy habits and given the recommendation. These recommender systems are based on 2 main methodologies, which is collaborative filtering to find similarities between users and content-based filtering. And these are some results. And all these ideas are brought to the projects that are relevant with gamification and coaching. The idea of gamifying the management and handling of disease is very important, because it can be the first step for user engagement and participation. So in another project that is called MediLudus, we have created such applications that motivate the user, having specific goals for its day or for its week, and through leaderboards and competition with other people that have the same diseases, and receiving some badges and some rewards, it was easier for the people to follow therapeutic schedule and make the disease management a little bit fun for them. Another aspect we are working in our project is the integration of augmented reality. Augmented reality is the introduction of synthetic data into the real world. So we have developed some applications for smart and serious games that enable mental interaction with some problems, some cases. This is used for people with mild cognitive diseases and dementia, and also motivates them to be more active. So there is some extra games that combine mental and physical exercises, and also some information that can be used in outdoors for where they can have some exercise, or they can have some interaction, some information. These also ideas are used in another project that measures how interventions in the environment and how, for instance, the creation of a park or of some exercises places near a neighborhood can affect the lifestyle and the everyday living of people that are living nearby. And this is a very recent project that recently started, and the idea in this project is that we will use digital twins and AI technologies that can help us to monitor the stress in the university staff and the students. For this project, we're going to use wearable devices and interviews and stress assessment questionnaires. And the idea is how we can modify the content and the schedule of a course, of a program, to minimize the stress situations and minimize the stress of both students and the professors. In this project, there are also other pilots that as well, and another pilot is a vineyard that has farmers that are working, and this is in relation with the previous speaker. They also intend to use this technology, because during the harvesting time, it is difficult for them, for the farmers to work under very hard conditions. And they also want this technology to monitor the stress of the workers, of the farmers, during the harvesting period at vineyards in Portugal. This partner is in Portugal. I will go fast because now I know we are out of schedule. We're also doing work with image analysis and computer vision, as I mentioned before. We are very proud and famous for our work we are doing in the area of skin image analysis and early detection of cancer, skin cancer, and especially malignant melanoma. We are now also in collaboration with Pfizer for other diseases as well, such as Staphylococcus and atopic dermatitis and alopecia areata. We have integrated these computer vision techniques as APIs that are integrated in patient records. And other work we're doing is in the area of digital pathology, where we analyze microscopic images and assist pathologists to find useful information, and also retrieve similar cases from databases. In all these aspects, we pay significant attention to the areas of explainability and interpretability. This is something that is very emphasized in the AI Act, that the AI applications not be as black boxes, but include also explanations and explanations and additional information of why the prediction was made and what are the important elements. We have several publications in this area using also deep learning networks for analyzing and interpreting histopathology images. There's some examples there. Here that we saw also that it was identified in the images, and in the other side we have a heat map that shows which are the basic information in the image that affects the prediction. Also, what is colored as red is the most important part of the image. And these also are some examples of images with explainability indications that show which specific area of the image is of high importance and plays a significant role in the prediction in the result of a neural network of a machine learning model. Of course, there are limitations of AI. The basic limitation is in the quality.
Sorry, Professor Maklogiannis, you have 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay.
You have to conclude. You have to conclude because we have already exceeded the timelines. Okay.
Yes. No,
Thank you very much.
It was a delay from the previous speakers, you know that. Okay. Let's go to the challenges, which are personalization. So each person is different, and AI and this holistic approach can help us create different models and different variations of models for each patient. This is actually the main goal of modern medicine, precision medicine, and AI can support that. Of course, better intelligence through the use of edge computing. I mean, since now the amount of data is very big, huge, we should also consider analyzing the data in the source where they are produced and not moving everything to the cloud and have their own analytics. Of course, the deep learning and also generative learning that is recently established. And of course, ethics is a major challenge. The new guidelines, privacy by design, right to access, right to be forgotten, the data sharing and the consent management, it's important. And of course, the transparency and trustworthiness elements that I mentioned in the previous slides. Completing my presentation, I can say that we have passed some ages of learning and interest and implementation. I believe now the technology is mature, and we are beginning now the age of scale. It's the age of where these applications and systems will become more popular and will enter our everyday living and will affect more people in the future. So this is all. If you can find more information in our website, and please free to send me an email or ask me any question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Maklogiannis. You can stop sharing your screen, please. Thank you. Now, we move to the next speaker. That is a doctor-to-be, not a doctor yet. It's Maria Kostadinidou. She's an archaeologist, graduate from the Department of History and Archaeology of the National Kapodisian University. And now she's carrying her PhD on the relation or connection between food and religious experience. I met her accidentally a few months ago at a seminar. She was the speaker before me. I found her work interesting, and so I invited her to come to this conference, and I'm very happy that she had a positive response. Maria Kostadinidou, you have 15 minutes for the presentation. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here today. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to Professor George Boscu for inviting me to attend this conference, as well to the organizing committee for facilitating my attendance. Let me just share my presentation. Okay. In my speech, I would like to discuss a fascinating aspect of medieval religious history, the role of food and nutrition as a linkage between man and the divinities. This connection can be interpreted by examining certain nutritional habits that align with institutionalized religious practices and thereafter collating them with the ones opposite to them. Food and nutrition have been a subject of various methodological approaches, and many scholars have produced illuminating works on the complicated relations developed between human nutrition and religiosity. Ronald Barthes, by employing semiotic concepts, pointed out that food is a complicated communicational system. Dietary habits, intertwined with cultural practices, beliefs, and identities, express complicated social relationships and represent relations of prestige and power. Consequently, diverse religious systems legitimize and consolidate their authority by establishing a normative regulatory framework.
Mrs. Konstantinidou, there is
Yes.
a problem with the full screen mode of your computer. So, would you like to do it for you
No
from the
problem.
hub? Unless you can do it from your computer.
I have a full screen on my presentation. I
Yes,
don't.
we do not have. That's why I'm telling you.
Okay. No, even now, there's still no full screen on my
No.
presentation. Okay, so you can do it, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Maria Konstantinidou. That was an interesting lecture because we think we know about fasting, but we don't know really. And we may move to the last but not least presentation of the first session of Professor George Pierrakakos. Professor George Pierrakakos is a professor in organization management and management of primary healthcare services in the Department of Business Administration and director of the Social Policies Division of the Athens University of West Attica in Greece. I remind you again that there is a brief CV for every speaker on the internet site of the conference, so you can visit it and get more information. Are we ready?
Yes, thank you very much, Professor Bosco. My name is George Pierrakos. I'm professor and my sector is in primary healthcare organization management. Today we'll go over to the challenge for healthcare, the challenge for the healthcare system, and which is ensuring the high quality services. And the question here is how is this achieved in patient-centered approach? So in this presentation, we are going to explore how the shift towards to the patient-centered and the value-based care, which is implemented in European healthcare systems, and through a personalized care plans and integration health of health and social services, and of course the interoperability, which is very important. Let's move to the content of this presentation. In this agenda today is the emphasis on addressing the individual patient needs, which is focused on meeting in prioritization of personalized healthcare services. And we have the transition to the value-based care. We are going to see some examples of healthcare systems around Europe. We are going to talk about interoperability in healthcare, integrated healthcare and social care services. And finally, we see some key points in order to see the achievement of patient-centered care for healthcare systems. As for the introduction, let's start. In recent years, there has been a significant shift towards patient care, center care within the global healthcare services. And this approach focuses on addressing the unique needs for everyone, for every person, for every individual. And this is the transformation which is personalized the healthcare services. That means that tailored the treatments and intervention, and they try to meet the specific requirements for each patient. This is the aim, which is to reduce the dependency of hospital-based care by providing more localized and community-based options, allowing patients to receive the support which is closer to their daily life, let's say home, working environment, and so on. In this conceptual framework, we can see, which is coming from WHO, World Health Organization, the framework for people-centered and integrated healthcare services. We can see that in the inner cycle is the person, the individual, which is the heart of the healthcare system. This is surrounded by family and community layers, which is close and immediate social environments that impacting health for the person. Another circle which is surrounding the inner cycle is focused on the universal network facilities and practitioners, which is emphasizing in accessibility of healthcare services. Of course, we have a supporting healthcare sector, which is service delivering, health sector, which includes governance, financing, resources, and essential for function and other resources for the healthcare system. And another circle is the external influences, which is other sectors that impact the circle of healthcare system, which is referred to the broader of social determinants of health, including education, situation, social assistance, labor, housing, environment, and so on. Shifting to the value-based care, the value-based model supports social needs and clinical care by promoting prevention and better outcomes. As we can see in this approach, has to reduce social barriers and improve chronic condition management, which is the challenge for healthcare systems nowadays. How to manage the chronic care situation and chronic care illness for the patients that seek for this need. As we can see in this slide, we can see the average length of stay for patients in hospitals around Europe. The aim nowadays and the challenge nowadays for healthcare systems is to reducing the length of hospital days and stays, which means that patients spend less time in hospital for their treatment. And that aim is to achieve through a better management for chronic conditions and improvement of primary healthcare and community healthcare services in order to prevent from health issues that require the hospitalization, especially rehospitalization for the people that have chronic care issues. As for the hospital capacity, the beds and resources are freed for patients that need more severe and urgent conditions. Of course, we have the aim here, the target here is the cost reduction. Fewer days in the hospital result lowest cost. And for the healthcare system, as hospital care of the most is part of the most expensive services. Of course, we have improved of quality of life. Patients prefer nowadays recovering at home where they have better psychological and emotional support rather than staying at hospital. And another issue is that has to do with the infections. So we have shorter stay at hospital means that we have lower risk of hospital-acquired infections and prevent patients' health. Let's move to see some examples for personalized healthcare around Europe. First of all, in Germany, we have personalized healthcare services. The emphasis nowadays is on, as I said, on reduction of hospital dependency through community-based healthcare options. And another program in Sweden is the patient choice, which is encouraged a tailored approach to healthcare delivery, empowers patients to make informed decisions leading to improved patient satisfaction and better health outcomes. This approach also be seen in United Kingdom with the development of community healthcare services, as we can see. The emphasis is on strengthening primary care services. Of course, in NHS, there are some problems of sustainability and of the healthcare system, But the idea here is to based on community-based services, especially for chronic disease management programs that help patients to manage chronic condition effectively and provides timely intervention outside of the hospitals. That's the benefit of this choice, which is reduces the burden of hospital resources and ensures high quality services which is available for the patients. Another example has to do with the management of healthcare of the patient needs. As we can see, a prototype healthcare research center, which is in Netherlands, the Nivel Institute for Healthcare Services. The Netherlands Institute for Nivel focuses on assessing and improving healthcare quality across the country. Key elements include patient satisfaction, healthcare accessibility, and preventive measures. How does it achieved? By collecting patient-reported outcomes through the national surveys, monitoring essential healthcare aspects like access to care, continuing and patient experience with special focus on satisfaction and with healthcare services. So using data from surveys, interviews, and national registries, Nivel evaluates healthcare across general practices, hospitals, and community settings, and so on. And this approach identifying trends and highlight elements and key areas for improving and provides valuable insights in order to reinforce healthcare services. The key goals is to manage chronic diseases and improve the quality all over the healthcare services in country. As for the chronic management, which is another situation that the healthcare systems focusing on the services, is the case management programs for chronic conditions. We can see that help patients to manage long-term health issues. The idea here is to keep stable the situation of patients and give them personal support for finding their way in the healthcare system, organize the care, and help manage medication in order to help patients to move around the healthcare systems and healthcare services without any barriers, and make sure that the patients follow the treatment plans for better health of them. So we have the chronic care models. The most known healthcare model, chronic care model, is a Wagner model, as we can see it in the next slide, which focuses on active team-based care for long-term health issues, center on education and supporting patients, and improve, of course, the well-coordinated health, which is the demanding for the healthcare services nowadays. So we have 5 elements in this system, this model. The first one is, of course, local community resources and policies. So we focus on the local community, support for self-care, supporting decision-making. That means that empowerment patients with support informed decision-making, the system distribution planning in order to tailor the services to the patients, and of course, clinical information system, which is, let's say, a pillar of the chronic care model. The aim here is to reduce healthcare strain. The community support for self-care reduces the burden on healthcare services. Collaboration between informed patients and prepared service providers lead to better health outcome. Here the idea is to organize an ally between informed and empowerment patients with health providers, health workers, and in order to create a provider team and encourage for active patient participation, promoting resilience and overall community health. Interoperability is another issue towards to changing the healthcare globally, which means that it's the ability of different IT systems for software application. That means communicate, exchange data, share information. We have three parts of interoperability: foundational interoperability between basic data exchange, structural and semantic interoperability. That means that the data with shared meaning the same accurate interpretation. The ability allows the health information system to collaborate between across organizations. So we eliminate the barriers around the healthcare system and enhance the healthcare delivery for individuals and communities. Which are the potential savings and efficiency gains? First of all, we have the cost reduction. Full interoperability can save significant cost. Sometimes improve the patient safety, and because we have all the data in one point, better quality, of course, and faster access to critical data that can help for shorten patients' stays at hospitals, and positive impact on clinical workflow. Nowadays, it is important to follow and keep the protocols and have all this data in order to reduce the administrative task and clinician burned out, and support high quality reporting and compliance, easing the workflow for healthcare providers. Sometimes we have problems because we have limited system integration or technical market barriers. Of course, is a problem in interoperability, and most of the systems, let's say about half of the systems, is more is a burden for a substantial increase of bureaucracy. Another issue has to do with integrated health and social services, a holistic approach to health. Integrated health and social services recognize that social factors are important for health. Social determinants of health and housing and food and transportation, safe and well being is very important, and integrated care goes beyond immediate clinical needs, addressing upstream for social factors that impact health. So which are the 5 core activities that for social care integration? First of all is the awareness, involves identifying the social needs of individuals, ensuring that the care providers understand the broader social context and affecting health, adjustment of and adapting to healthcare services to accommodate these social factors, make care for more accessible and relevance. The assistance focus on connecting patients to valuable resources that address their social and their needs. Alignment coordinates community assets to work synergistically with the healthcare system, and of course advocacy, which is support and beneficial policies in order to create more supportive and equitable healthcare services. Here is the most important, is very important, the role of interprofessional workforce. That means that there is a need of well-trained workforce in a community as a team-based approach and support the holistic care addressing the both clinical and social needs. And of course, the digital tools play a very critical role, and it is crucial for facilitating coordination. Advances in data sharing and digital platforms help to bridge the gap between clinical and social care and give tools for such predictive analytics, telemedicine, and so on. As for the conclusion, so which is the evolution of healthcare policies nowadays? The center of the health policy is the patient center, and there is a movement from the volume of healthcare services to the outcome of the healthcare services, focus on personalized outcome, driven care that meets the clinical and social needs of the patients. Of course, integrated health and social services address the social determinants of health, like housing, which is the first need for family, the food, enhance and community health, and some examples as community healthcare services, focus in Germany, UK, which is the main question nowadays is to reduce hospital dependency and emphasis in community care. In Sweden, as we said, programs with emphasis in improving satisfaction and focus on patient report outcomes, which is an approach to improve the healthcare services. And key challenges is the interoperability for efficient data services and digital tools for coordination, balancing, privacy, and access. Thank you for your attention, and I'm disposal for any questions.
Bosco?
Thank you, Professor Pierrakos. One moment, please, because I lost the connection again. There was an incoming call. Do we have any questions? There is one question from, I think, Professor Proestos. What about in Greece? What is the length of stay in hospital?
Proestos or Professor Kalokerinos?
Is a question for me? Okay,
I guess so, yes.
okay.
Wait.
It's
Let-
Professor Kalokerinos' question.
I have another question. One question is for Pierrakos about the length of stay in Greece, and the other one is about AI in agriculture and the future of food supplies on Earth.
Yes, according to the Eurostat data, the length stay in Greece is about 5 to 7 days, but the difficult situation in Greece that we have a lot of readmissions. So this is the challenge for healthcare system, and we have people that stay at hospitals more than let's say one period. But in the recent detailed article of Eurostat, the data for Greece is not available. So according to the Eurostat data, that somebody can find them in the database of Eurostat is about 5 to 7 days. But as I said before, the challenge here for the healthcare system is that there are a lot of readmissions. So about somebody, especially the people that have long-term issues, that are going again and again to the hospital.
So we are still behind.
Yeah, because the healthcare system in Greece is, let's say, hospital-oriented, and they need a lot of steps in order to change the orientation, mostly to the primary healthcare. And of course, we are very behind for long-term care or improving that care in a community.
From your results, I think that more civilized countries have less stay in hospitals. Is that correct?
Yes, the idea is to have a less stay at hospital, reduce the burden of the hospital in order to be available and improve the quality of healthcare and improve the quality for emergency. So the services for long-term situation can offer at home and with the same quality or better quality sometimes. But there is a need for tools. The first tool is the protocol, and the second tool is the interoperability and the clinical information system, as the professor from Piraeus presented previously.
But on the other hand, we have private hospitals that they want long stay in order to take more money.
Yes, this is another issue. There are not available data, so the answer here is coming from experience. But of course, the movement in the private sector is again to have an innovation in their plans. So I think that the challenging for help for home care in Greece healthcare system, public and private, again is in the point of the main point and the main aspect of the discussion.
My other question, Professor Bosco, was, do we have enough food supply for the planet for the future?
Well, in terms of calorie demands, we are pretty sufficient. There is abundance of energy in the planet. But if we want better nutrition and if we want accessibility to proteins, good quality proteins, minerals and vitamins, then there would be a problem. So we need to find alternative sources. What is contradictory is that we want also to reduce meat consumption. It's good to reduce meat consumption, not only for nutrition, but also good for the planetary health. What is the contradictory here? We reduce animal product consumption and we want more proteins. Then we go to quest for more proteins. This quest for more proteins is addressed mostly to pulses, mushrooms, and insects and worms. There are insects and worms, about 5 or 6, already eligible to be used for human consumption. There is also the laboratory meat and the laboratory milk. However, we don't have enough data yet to know if this production is sustainable. And of course, there are several food ethics or nutrition ethics about the lab cultured meat. So my answer is yes, but we have particularly adequacy in nutritional elements.
Just a comment. AI now is in agriculture, is in medicine, is in health everywhere. Therefore, we cannot live without a smartphone. We should all have a smartphone. Am I correct or not? I think I am. Anyway, thank you very much.
He's not with us anymore.
Okay, if there is no other question, we will have a short break till 12 o'clock, and then we are going to start with Dr. Pavlakou.
Thank you
Evgenia,
very
sorry.
much for
Thank you very
Thank
for
you
much.
very
attending
much.
this session.
Evgenia, sorry for the delay. I know you have some obligations in Netherlands.
Hello, good morning. Don't worry, I'm Dr. Pavlakou's assistant. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm Sofia Kotsini, so on behalf of Dr. Pavlakou here today. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Welcome, you're welcome. See you in
Thank
a
you very
while.
much.
Thank you.
So we are starting at 12 o'clock. Thank you.